Good day everybody, welcome to today's video. Today's video, right behind me, I got my 2003 Jeep TJ, and we're going to do another rust repair on it. What we got on the bottom of the Jeep right there is quite a big rust gash going there. Now unfortunately, we're probably going to have to cut this out. I think the metal has already corroded enough that there's nothing we can do for it. First thing I'm going to do is take my body hammer. Metal's got some pretty good integrity still. Let's get the grinder and take that layer off and see how it's gonna look. So I'm going to look at this panel here. We got some surface rust right there. I could actually probably treat that with POR 15 and not have it come back. But this panel here connects with this panel here. And this panel here, I'm assuming, goes underneath. And that's what these 3 spot welds are for, is to hold it in place. Now if you look at that hole, there's more than, there appears to be more than one layer of metal behind there. It's corroded so bad, probably not going to notice in the camera, that's actually lifted the metal around it. So I'm thinking about drilling out those and cutting the seam from here to here and across. Here's a couple spot welder cutters right here. This is the first kit I got, which is probably the most common kit you're going to find, which is like a 1/8. Actually, this one doesn't have the drill bit in it, just got the point. And it's got the attachable tools. And you just go through and drill. The problem I have with this setup right here is that every time you drill, it gets caught up inside the bit there. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to keep cleaning it out. Now this kit right here uses this setup. And I like it better because it chews the hole. And you don't have to worry about trying to clean the little circle out of the bit. It just makes a hole and you're done. What I'm gonna do is punch a little 1/8 hole first. Yeah, it is pretty thick back there. Quite a bit thicker than I thought. Spray it down with some cutting oil. Looks like milk. That's what it is. You can see right there, it broke through. There's a rotted layer underneath there. And my battery's dying too. Just a little bit further, baby. If you look, there's a layer of rust in there. You can see it. Oh, and see that piece? Yeah, sandwiched between those 2 layers of metal, there's another layer of just pure rust. So what I'm going to want to try to do, for experiment's sake, I just want to try to cut the outer skin off and see how it looks behind. See that? So what we got on the ground is this big chunk of rust, which actually used to sit right there. And you can see how it was festering between these two panels. So this panel here is actually one solid panel that goes across. And I also noticed there's a bunch of dirt up in there that goes up to where the license plate hole is. So I think I'm going to cut a little bit wider swath for us to fix. At this point, there's a million ways you could fix this job now. If you didn't really care about it, you could put some rust inhibitor, rust stopper on this, and then weld the panel over top if you didn't really care. Or you could cut this out and just weld a single panel. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut through this outside line, and about a ½ inch from there, I'm going to cut that line right underneath. And we're going to replace the center section here, zinc plate it, zinc plate the other piece, and we're going to zip it in. So what we need to do is fit up the new panel, and what's going to be very critical here is that we're going to have to take our time, be very patient, because if we get any warpage on this inside panel, especially if it warps outward, it's going to affect how this top panel is going to sit, and you're going to see it. So we may have to weld it, and we may have to beat it in afterwards. We're going to find out. So I use my flange tool that we used in the other repair video. We're just kind of fitting it up. And now we're going to tack it into place. Got some tack welds in there, but she's a little warm, so I'm going to let it cool down for a bit before we hit it again. Patching that in will test your patience. Now we got to go about and grind her all out, and then we're going to put some zinc coating on there and go on to the next step. First stage is done. Zinc primer's applied. You can see some gaps in there from the welding. Not really too concerned about that because that's where the panel folded under. The new panel is actually going to go right through there, so I'm not really too concerned about that because this is just the inside panel, and I zinc coated it so we can put the outside panel on and hopefully not have any rusting issues. But I tapped it with my knuckle and transferred some paint. Gonna use the good old tape trick to mark down spots that I need to cut out. Peel that off, hopefully in one piece. Perfect. Piece of scrap metal from the Jeep. Looks good, just gotta bend that over. Got my mark on the back there. lock it down. Should be pretty close. That's actually gonna fit up pretty good. Pretty good. Punch some weld holes, 3 on each side. I don't know if these pins will suck it in or not. They make body work so much more easier. Got our pins all in place. Start putting some tack welds in. Got her welded up. Gonna grind her down now so it doesn't look so ugly and look for spots that I gotta patch up. Just grinded her down. Few spots right there, one right there, and a couple right in there. We're gonna patch up quickly, grind them back down. At this stage, we're done all the grinding, all the welding. Gotta mix up some Bondo. Put a little layer on there, sand her down so everything flattens out smooth. And then we can get ready for primer. Oh, I put that on because I don't want to get Bondo in that line I created. The Bondo has now been cured. We're going to sand this first coat off and see where our highs and lows are. Gonna hit her with a flat sander now. This will definitely smooth her out. See where I stand. So that actually turned out way better than I thought. I just cleaned it up. I maintained that line right down there. This has got to be sanded down again in POR 15. But this is flat, nice and flat. Feathered the paint back a little bit. There's a few layers there for sure. So I'm going to put some zinc paint on there now. Now, of course, if you want to protect your paint, you'd mask it off. But we're going to rocker line this hole. So it's going to zinc coat it. And there we have it. We're all sprayed and done. Now, if I was going to paint this, I'd probably Bondo that little section right there. But since we're going to rhino line the whole back, I'm not too concerned about that. But you can see, nice and straight, she is looking good. So there you have it. There's another video of doing rust repair on a vehicle. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, I want to thank you for watching. And that LED light from my camera is blinding me.